I look back on my life and I think about where I am today, sitting here on board our catamaran in the Caribbean, having sailed to so many different places, having raced solo around the world. From where I came to where I am today is so different. And so many young people face so many challenges, the challenges of hopelessness, the challenges of being bullied, the challenges of mental issues. And as I look back at my childhood and I look at those challenges that I faced, I grew up with a physical disability. I could not walk as a child. And I ended up spending this time in a hospital bed. And when I recovered from my various surgeries, I walked with crutches because I did not have a complete hip joint. I was in a body cast for periods of time through my last surgery, and I had to go through all kinds of therapies so that I could have a normal life. But my life was not normal. The other boys could run and kick a ball, and I had to sit on the sidelines because I could not run and kick a ball. So I was called names, I was bullied. But I found my niche, and my niche was in the water. I could swim. I could hold my breath longer than any other kid of my age. And so by finding what I was good at, I found confidence. Eventually, I hobbled over to a library because I was interested in books about the sea. My father told me stories about the sea and his time at sea, and my mother encouraged me to read. And so it was libraries, public libraries, that fueled my imagination. I built a treehouse and I sat in that treehouse with my books reading, imagining I was on a ship on the high seas. I could hear the wind whistling through the trees and I could imagine the storms. I could feel the treehouse swinging in the breeze and I could imagine being on board my boat like I am right now. And that imagination, coupled with the knowledge I was gaining from those books, opened up a world of possibilities. Now, I did not have the internet in that period. I wish I did have such a wonderful tool that could open up any knowledge base, any experience to me. And so I see so many young people who are not living their lives to their fullest potential, but they're looking down. They have their device in their hands, they're all thumbs, missing this broad world. Pick your head up and utilize technology as a tool. Use it as a tool for good to enhance your education, to find the things that you are passionate about and how you get to do those things that you are passionate about. Now, I remember going to the yacht club because I wanted to sail, but the yacht club was for rich kids, for people who had money. The yacht club was for people who were classified as white, not for somebody from my complexion. But I had to overcome the fear of walking up to a stranger, knocking on their hull and asking them, please take me sailing. And I faced countless rejection. But again, I stayed focused on that vision, that dream. I wanted to be on a boat. I wanted to sail. I wanted to experience the oceans. And eventually, someday, I wanted to race across an ocean. Now, it was easy to become discouraged by the rejection that many of those sailors said, you don't belong here. You're not one of us. Give up. My peers at high school, during the apartheid years, when we were fighting for equality in our country, many of my peers says, what are you doing with people who are suppressing us and holding us down? It was easy to become discouraged by all of these things, but I learned that I had to engage people. I had to listen to my critics. And I could not allow my critics to define who I was going to be, what my dreams were going to become. So I challenge our young people to look at their world and not see what they don't have, but see the opportunities and the experiences and see the wisdom that they're surrounded by so they can go out into this world and live their best self. The power of a dream, the power of hard work, the resilience that it takes to live a dream. Now, I wanted a yacht. My parents couldn't afford to buy a boat. So I found a way to build a career, to gain an education base to support this dream of yacht ownership. And When I was working, I learned to save my money. I did not buy the latest in technology or the latest toy or the latest shoes or whatever was the latest and the greatest. I learned to save and I learned to invest that resource, respect the resource, so that I could utilize those resources to be able to move towards how do I have that yacht. I realized I could not buy the boat. And so I returned to books and to libraries to gain the knowledge on naval architecture and how to build a boat. And then I began by laying up the keel, the, the keel plank, and then built the hull, and then put on a deck. It was a slow, arduous process. It was frustrating. It was hard work. There were times I felt like giving up. I did not know how I would finish the project. I don't have enough money to finish the project. There was every excuse of why I would fail versus why I would succeed. But again, that resilience, the determination, the dedication to the dream is what I had to dig deep into my soul to say, I am not going to be robbed of an amazing life. And eventually, I launched that yacht. And people laughed at that boat. They called it a floating coffin. And so, in the course of your journey, there are always going to be the energy vampires. You can allow them to rob you of your dreams. Or instead, you can use that criticism to become fuel, to recognize what do you have to overcome? Who do you have to have on your team? What do you have to learn? How do you do things by engaging people? As a result of that childhood, that wonderful dreaming youth, I was able to build a life of my dreams. I was eventually able to take on the challenges of racing 27,000 miles around the world. It was not easy. There were many days I felt like giving up. There were incredibly lonely days out there. There were times that I did not know if I would live or die. But I had faith, faith in my ability. I had faith that I could overcome any challenge that life would throw at me. I would turn any barrier into opportunity and build confidence. I challenge you to look at your dreams, to look at technology, to use it in a wise way to propel you forward and not to let society dictate to you what you can and cannot do, but know what is in your heart, but also to understand the risks. When I grew up in the apartheid era, we were an activist youth. We saw injustice. We fought against injustice. We wanted to have an equal chance, an equal shot at a successful future. So we did not squander that time. We used that time wisely. Today we are facing climate injustice. We are facing economic injustice. We are facing racial injustice. You can be a part of the problem, or you can be a part of the solution. You have the longest life to live, more than any older person today. You have the longer time to endure these challenges, or you can help to find the solutions so that you can live in a fair, equitable world. Make the right choices. They're not going to be easy. There will be hard choices. There will be difficult times, but never give up hope. You can go from poverty, whatever circumstance you find yourself, and dream and live in a world of paradise. It's not just a make believe or something that is impossible. It is achieved by hard work, by teamwork, by having a strong knowledge base, by willing to make the sacrifices to decide what is important and what is not important. This can be done, and you can be a part of an amazing journey and build a legacy that you can look back as I look back on my life, someday look back on your life and say, wow, what a ride.